Good morning, guys. It is around 9:15 in the morning on a Wednesday. I'm actually getting ready to head out to campus in a few minutes. I'm leaving a little bit earlier than I normally would on a Wednesday because today I have to go to campus to take a makeup exam. If you guys saw my last video, you know I flew down to Florida this past weekend and I actually left on Thursday, which meant that I had to miss some classes, and in one of those classes I had a test. Thankfully, the professor was willing to give me a makeup exam and she scheduled that for me today at 11 o'clock. So I'm gonna leave around 9:30ish so I can get to campus with enough time to review my notes and head over and take that exam. And then after that, I will be heading over to my internship. We are kind of working the Fall Fest at Stony Brook today, so that is what I have going on in terms of school. For today's video, it's kind of just going to be a day in the life of a college commuter who is also 26 weeks pregnant with twins. Now, I mentioned in my last video that I kind of jinxed myself. I had been feeling really good still, but recently things have gotten a little difficult, I would say. Some things have gone on and I actually have to go to the doctor's tonight around 4:30 to go get monitored and examined and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to go into this a little more in detail later on in the video once I'm done with school and we're heading over to the doctor's. I'll kind of explain what happened while I was down in Florida, and then I'll take you guys along for the doctor's appointment as well, and we'll talk about what he says after. So that's what I have going on today, a full day of school, and then I have to head to the doctor's to check out the boys and everything like that. I woke up this morning and showered like you guys saw. I just got dressed, I blew out my hair. I quickly want to show you guys the sweater jacket thing that I'm wearing. I just ordered this from Gap Maternity and it came while I was in Florida, and I am so excited that it came because this is the most comfortable thing you will ever buy. So let's go to my bathroom. I'm going to quickly show you that. So, wow, my mirror is actually really dirty. I don't really know what that is, but this jacket, sweater, cardigan thing I just ordered from Gap Maternity. Like I said, my friend Catherine, who's also pregnant, wore it to the movies probably about 2-ish weeks ago, and I saw it and I was like, I have to have that. That looks so comfortable. It's basically like wearing a blanket. It's like Sherpa lined on the inside. It has pockets. It is so comfortable, and if you live in New York, you would know that we are hitting a very cold spell right now. The temperature has dropped by a lot. I think the high today is like 35 degrees, so this will keep me warm today. Seriously, it's like wearing a blanket. So I will link this down below if you guys are interested in checking it out. I think it was around $60, which to me is so worth it because I'm going to get so much use out of this for the remainder of my pregnancy, and even after I'm done being pregnant, I can see myself still wearing this. So I wanted to show you guys that. I'm now going to go and finish getting everything ready so I can head out to campus. I need to just like pack some snacks, get a water, make a coffee, all that kind of stuff, and then we'll head out to campus and I will check in with you guys in a little bit.
Trying to get those games, get those sugar games too. That is the hardest.
It is so cold out right now. My car says it's 41 degrees, but it feels a lot colder than that. Anyway, I just got back to my car. I just got done with my internship. I am supposed to be working in the office for a few hours, but because I have to leave for my doctor's appointment, I'm just going to go in early tomorrow and work the office hours that I am supposed to be working today, which my internship director said it was no problem. So it is around 3 o'clock. My doctor's appointment is actually at 4:15. That's when the ultrasound is, and then the actual appointment with my doctor is at 4:30. So I have a little bit of time before I have to start heading home, and I thought I quickly would kind of explain to you guys what's actually been going on with this whole ordeal and kind of what happened when I was in Florida and how this all began and why I'm going to the doctors and all that kind of stuff. So let me quickly explain. So this kind of all started, I think it was like last Tuesday, I was sitting in one of my classes and I actually started to get some Braxton Hicks contractions that were, in my opinion, pretty intense, and they were happening really frequently. I would get them like back to back to back. And I've had Braxton Hicks before where it was just kind of one and then it stopped and I moved on with my day. But I was sitting in class and I was kind of getting them very frequently, and it was hard to concentrate and hard to catch my breath. And so I decided to give my doctor a call. And when I did, they thought that it possibly was because I was dehydrated. So they told me to kind of hydrate, empty my bladder frequently, and that should help stop the Braxton Hicks. And it did help for Tuesday into Wednesday. I did feel much better. But then Thursday came about, and this was the day that I flew down to Florida. And when I say that this was the worst flight that I've ever been on, this was genuinely the worst flight that I've ever been on in my entire life. And I fly pretty frequently, a couple times a year. This was seriously the worst flight ever. So we experienced a lot of turbulence on this flight. It was over an hour's worth of turbulence, probably about an hour and a half worth of turbulence, and I was so tense during this flight, holding onto the seat, holding my breath. Like, I was just so tense during this flight that I started to get more of the Braxton Hicks, and I really didn't want to work myself up. I kept saying to myself, like, don't get tense, don't get worked up, like, don't get anxiety, like, just calm down. And so because I was getting worked up and I was getting anxiety and I was getting tense, it kind of like made it worse, and I kind of had a little bit of a panic attack on the plane. But we landed and everything was okay. However, the Braxton Hicks kind of continued for the rest of the night. And that night, Thursday night, I actually had a really hard time sleeping. I felt like I was getting a little more crampy. I was having a little bit more pain lower down. And so when I woke up the next morning and I really wasn't feeling that well, my mom told me to call my doctor again and let them know. And so when I called them and I told them this, my doctor wanted me to go into the hospital to get monitored. So since I was in Florida, I couldn't go to a hospital up here, like one that's affiliated with my doctor. I just went to a random hospital down in Florida, and when I was there, they put me on the contraction monitor for about a half hour, and they also hooked up the heart monitors so they could monitor the boy's heartbeat. I didn't know that I was supposed to get an ultrasound, and I was supposed to get a pelvic exam also while I was there, just because I've never gone to the hospital to be monitored before. So I didn't know that those were like regular things that probably should have been done. So when I left the hospital, they had told me everything was fine. I didn't really contract while I was there. They thought that, you know, everything's fine. It might be the way the boys are laying, might be dehydrated, might have been from the flight, but everything was fine. So when I called my doctor and I told him that everything was fine, he said, okay, well, yesterday I really wasn't feeling well again. I decided to call my doctor and see if I could just come in and get an ultrasound and an exam. And he asked me if I'd gotten this when I was down in Florida, and I told him no, and he was kind of confused as to why when I went to get monitored, they didn't like automatically do this stuff. So he said, yes, come in tomorrow whenever you can, and we will do a pelvic exam and an ultrasound just to check and see. He wants to make sure my cervix is still high and tight, and he wants to see the position that the boys are in, because he thinks it's how they're laying, because I seem to be getting the Braxton Hicks more if I sit in a certain position or if I sit or lay a certain way. So he thinks they may be laying on something or laying in me weird that is causing me to get the Braxton Hicks more frequently. So that's kind of what's been going on. Nothing really to be too concerned about. I know Braxton Hicks are normal and that they're not actual contractions, and you know, I probably shouldn't be concerned, but this is my first pregnancy and it's a twin pregnancy, and so it's very unfamiliar territory even for my mom. Like, she's like, she doesn't even know what to say sometimes because she's never been pregnant with twins. So I'm just going in for peace of mind, both for myself and for my doctor. Like I said, he wants to check and make sure my cervix is good, and he wants to make sure like check the position of the boys. So that is why I'm heading to the doctor's, and that's kind of what's been going on. I'm actually going to go to Starbucks on the way home because I left my water at the event and I am so thirsty. So I'm just going to run through Starbucks and get an ice water to have on the ride home we'll go to the doctor's, and then I will update you guys with what he says is going on with the boys. Alright, so I just got out of the doctor's. 2 hours I was there waiting, which I guess I could kind of understand because they had to fit me in, but it definitely was a long wait to see the doctor and everything like that. But thankfully everything is fine. He thinks that I'm just overextending myself, that I need to kind of take it easy, I need to drink more water and hydrate and just take it easy. There was nothing on the ultrasound or really anything of concern. Baby A and baby B are both over 2 pounds, measuring on track, amniotic fluid's good, position of the placenta's good, all that kind of stuff. My cervix is still high and tight. He does think that my pelvic bone is starting to shift out more and widen, so that could be causing some of the pain. But other than that, everything looks great. He's not really concerned that I need to be put on bed rest or anything like that, which is good because that is a concern of mine. Definitely don't need that. I still have like a month left of school. But he just said to take it easy, to change positions, to stretch, to drink water, empty my bladder. So, you know, I might be a hypochondriac for trying to go to the doctor, but then again, this is my first pregnancy. It is a multiples pregnancy, and so you can never be too safe in my eyes. So I'm glad that I went, and it definitely makes me feel better, and I'm going to just try and push through all the aches and pains that I'm having. I mean, I still have to be so grateful for the pregnancy that I have had thus far because it has been really easy up until this point, so everything will be good. So now I'm going to head home. Harris just ordered us some Chipotle. Neither of us could decide what we wanted to eat for dinner, so Chipotle it is. So I'm gonna head home. We're gonna eat dinner, and I'm not really sure what we have going on for the rest of the night, but maybe a movie. Definitely have some homework to do, so we'll see. Water. Burrito looks huge. We just finished eating dinner, and I literally feel like I'm about to rip at the seams. I am so full. My stomach is so hard right now. But Harris actually just jumped into the shower. I'm quickly going to sit down now and do some homework that I have to get done. And then we are going to watch a movie. I think it's called Let It Snow. I don't know. He picked it out. Some rom-com, it seems like, which is definitely different than our normal movies we watch. But he said he wanted to watch it. So we're probably going to watch that. So I'm going to go now. I have to do like an online reading and a quiz. And then we will watch the movie.